All right. Since it's taking time, can I request everyone to say sadhu?
Sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Seyatapi bhikkhave gimhana pachime mase kite majjantike kale marichi pandati. Tamenang chakuma purisa passaya nijjaya yoniso parikkaya tassatam passato nijjayato yoniso parikkato rittancheva payeya tucchancheva payeya asarakancheva payeya king siya bhikkave marichi kaya saro evameva ko bhikkave yakanchi sanya atitanagat chuppannu ajjattang va bahiddang va ularikang va sukumang va hinang va panitang va yandure santikeva tam bhikkhu passate nijjayati yoniso upaparikkati tasatang passato nijjayato yoniso upaparikkatu vittancha kayati tucchanta kayati asarancha kayati king isya bhikkave sanyaya saro markikupama sanya sadhu sadhu sadhu. Dear noble friends, if we first take the translation of the Pali verse I just recited, it says, suppose bhikkhus that in the last month of the hot season, at high noon, a shimmering mirage appears. A man with good eyesight would inspect it, ponder it, carefully investigate it, and it would appear to him to be void, hollow, insubstantial. What substance could there be in a mirage? So too, bhikkhus, whatever kind of perception there is, whether past, future, or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, a bhikkhu inspects it, ponders it, carefully investigates it, and it would appear to him to be void, hollow, insubstantial. For what substance could there be in perception? Perception is like a mirage. So that's the direct translation of the Pali verse. And we have been discussing about now, if I give a summary of what we have been discussing so far, it simply says the form, that is physical process, is like fire, and feelings like a water bubble, and perception like a mirage. So this is the summary that Penapindupama Sutta is giving so far as what we have discussed is concerned. So we discussed the form, physical process, how it looks like fire. When you get closer to the physical process and you are able to see the change in phenomena of your walking process or of your breath, and finally when your attention goes to the body, and some of you may have seen that it's a lump of fire, and it appears and disappears, just bursts off. And similarly, feelings, we have been discussing that for about 3-4 weeks, where the Blessed One says, like a water bubble, when there is a contact of the mind with the physical process, or the elements that appear in the physical process, such as heat element, water element, air element, earth element, etc. And some of the facets of these elements we may like, and others we don't like. and that results in feelings. So that interpretation that we are making is the falling of the raindrop on the surface of water. And for that thought moment, it will be a feeling. And you may feel that it lasts forever, so long as you hate it, so far as unpleasant feelings are concerned. So far as pleasant feelings are concerned, you will enjoy it as much as possible, and you will try your level best to enjoy the present feeling. And we have also discussed about neither pleasant nor unpleasant feeling. Since we have discussed in detail, I'm not going to take that again. So whatever the type of feeling it is, it's a water bubble. It's only until so long as you have some interpretation about the feeling, you will have either pleasant or unpleasant. Otherwise, it just contact. And if there is no interpretation, it just vanishes. And that is what we have been trying to see so far as feelings is concerned. We be mindful. And by being mindful, we try to bear it up. We try to be patient with it as long as possible, so that you will not interpret it. Even if the mind is interpreting, we are trying to bear it up. By bearing it up, what happens is we change our mind. So when our mind changes the attitude about feeling, that water bubble doesn't last long. So that is what the mindfulness does. And that is what the Blessed One says. No matter what feelings it is, you will have to simply be aware of. And that is the key teaching, key practice that we are trying to promote in this group. And keep that mindfulness to the fore all the time, every time, anytime. And the question of feeling, when you have feeling, you will have to identify it as either pleasant or unpleasant. Not that you don't identify things in the physical sphere. Even in physical sphere, we are identifying things. But once you go through the feelings, you are going more into the mental process. So when you go more into the mental process, the elements, constituents of the mental process are coming into the picture, coming onto the surface. So this perception is one of them, right? So what basically the Blessed One does in this sutta is giving similes to each and every physical and mental components, constituents in our existence, namely form, feelings, perception, mental volitions, and consciousness. He's taking all these five and comparing it, attributing it to one of the similes. So, so far as perception is concerned, if I remind you what we discussed last time, a brief summary, we discussed what perception is. And in Pali, we call perception sanya, right? So we discussed what it is. And the main function of it is to identify things distinctly. So to identify things distinctly, you need some signs, you need some notes. You will have to see the processes. You will have to see the characteristics. You'll have to see the genders. You'll have to see the features. You'll have to see the sub-features. So using these type of, techniques or the methods, we will be distinctly identifying things. So there are 5 or 6 of us here, and all of us human beings, and we are identified as human beings because there is a characteristic or some signs that we are human beings compared to the other living beings. But when we take human beings here, and each one of us have distinct characteristics, so that mental identification, that mental distinction is sanya, is the perception. So this perception, feature of perception, or the function of perception comes more and more into light when you go into the deeper layers of the feeling. As soon as you start being mindful to the feeling, these things starts popping up. So we therefore discussed the significance of perception according to the Blessed One. The Blessed One says the perception plays a major role, and he is describing the process by which the perception is playing a major role in Nanatta Sanya Sutta, variety of perception discourse. And it says diversity of elements is what leads to the diversity of perception. So we have so many elements. The elements we know are earth, water, etc., etc. Not only those elements, even from those things, when we take our faculties, each of these faculties are using these elements in different manner. And there's a separate eye element, and its perception is only form. And ear element, its perception is hearing. And nose element, its perception is smell. Similarly, tongue, body, and mind, etc. There are a variety of elements, and because of the diversity of elements, the perception also is very diverse, unimaginably diverse. So Blessed One says this diversity of perception leads to diversity of intentions. So these things should be treated this way, and these things should be treated this way. These things should be treated this way. And these people are poor people, and this is middle class, and this is upper middle class, this is lower middle class, this is high class, this is lower high class, this is middle high class, and this is high class. And like that, we have royals, merchants, and different perception. And therefore, because of the different perception, there are different intentions based on the perception. And they should be treated differently. And they should be catered differently. And they should be regarded differently. So there is no need for me to give a list. And you can think of those things since you have been living in this society for a long time. So there is nothing. It's just a perception of one individual. And because of the diversity of intentions, diversity of desires. So we, since we have intention, the desire naturally arises. And what the intention does is to get something that we like. And why we generate an intention is to do what we like. And on the other hand, it's not always what we like. Because of the desire, there will have hatred as well to the other side that we don't like. And the diversity of desires, the Blessed One says, it creates a passion. It's not just the desire. You will have to take it for yourself. You will have to take it home. You will have to frame it, and you will have to hang it in the living area, or you will have to register and own it for yourself. And there are so many things that we do that way. Maybe a vehicle, maybe a property, maybe a partner. We legally possess it. It's not just the desire. We create a passion and we make it ours. And because of this passion, and a lot of Blessed One says, diversity of passions leads to diversity of quests, various ways of maximizing or optimizing the passion. You will have to find ways. It's not just the good olden way. Each generation is treated separately. And that is why we have X generation, Y generation, Z generation, and all such generations are coming. I don't know what generation is coming next. So because their quests are different, their passions are different. And to treat them, we do different things. So this is what we discussed in the last meeting, and today I'm going to take this concept of perception, or the mental element called perception, into our practice. So although the quests are led by passion, and the passion led by desire, this process, we know, has never fulfilled the desire. If when we take this process, and if we have done all the best research, and we must have satisfied ourselves. So there is no person on the earth except Buddha and those who have enlightened. They haven't passed away without fulfilling desires. And if we also don't go through these physical and mental processes, we also will die without fulfilling our desire. So therefore, the Blessed One explained this process, or the danger that is involved in perception, and we keep investigating, we keep experimenting things. We will have a lot of quests, but we never quench our thirst of desire in this process. So for that, the Noble One said, quests. It is not just a quest, it is a noble quest. In the noble quest, I used to say, of course, this is something that I have heard from my teacher. He says, in all other quests, which are ignoble, they have experiment, observation, and the conclusion. And in the noble quest, we have experiment and observation only, and there is no conclusion. Since there is no conclusion, we will have to keep on observing, and that is what we do, keeping the mindfulness to the fore. And that is what the Blessed One suggests here. A bhikkhu will carefully investigate it, inspect it, ponders it, and carefully investigate it. So that is done only by keeping the mindfulness to the fore. So the bottom line is, although we have so many quests, although the governments and societies are spending billions of money in research, there is no end, because the desires are not being fulfilled. But on the other hand, the Blessed One is giving this technique for us. And therefore, we are going now to see, as the Blessed One says, is it really a mirage? To do that, we inspect it, we ponder it, and investigate. And if we see the practice, in the practice, when we take mindful walking, what we do is, I touched this in the last session as well. When we do the mindful walk, the process of walking, or see how you place the foot on the ground, and also see what sort of sensation you get, and see how the walking process completes. And if you are able to get more information other than just the three information I just mentioned, get all those information. So this is the basic instruction. So in this instruction, you may observe that your heel is landing first, and then the arch area, and then the pillow area, and then the toes, and then you press those things. And with that, you will be completely placing the foot on the ground. So what it simply says is, you are mindful of these signs, you are mindful of these shapes and manners and notes and the processes of the placing of the foot. So in other words, in mindful walking, we are using this perception to be mindful as well. So when you have this perception of how you place the foot, and then we are asking the yogis to see how you lift it. And when you see that, you will see that you are lifting again in the same order. You lift the heel, lift the arch area, lift the pillow, lift the toes, and then press it a bit so that you move forward. So like that, you keep on observing your right foot, left foot for some time. And when you keep on doing that, you are observing only placing and lifting. You may see another perception. Not only the walking process has placing and lifting, it also has moving. Just placing and lifting won't complete the walking process. There is another action in between. You will see the movement of the leg as well. So how do you see the movement of the leg? Because you see another feature. You see another process involved. So how you get this process? Again, because of the perception. So we use the perception to be mindful as well. So when you keep on observing this perception, and a very smart person will also see, once you, it is not just moving. Moving is also having two sections. One is moving after lifting, and then the other is lowering down slowly. And then how you see that is because now you are more and more close to the walking process, and you are carefully investigating, you are pondering it, you are inquiring about it. So your attention is 100% on this. So when your attention is 100% on that, all what you pick up are the perceptions, all what you pick up are the features, all what you pick up are the aspects of the walking process. So therefore, you keep on observing these features. When you keep on observing these features, left, right, sometime, and then when you get used to it, it will come to a mixed up of perception. So you're always observing one leg, but when walking is happening, walking is not just happening on one leg, it is happening simultaneously in both the legs. When one leg is placing, the other is being lifted. When one leg is moved, the other leg is lowered down, or rather, it's firmly on the ground. So you may see not only just one leg, you may see more perceptions. When you have your attention on one perception, and when you don't make any, as the previous process suggested, when you don't make, you have variety of perceptions now, but you don't have intentions, right? You don't create intentions on them. When you are mindful, what we do is we just let it happen and take a step back and observe. When you observe, you don't make any intentions, you don't make any judgments, you don't make any conclusions, and you start seeing more and more perceptions. So when you start seeing more and more perception, you now see the walking completely in a different perspective. Your perception about the walking will completely change, and you may feel that you are rolling what you call a wheel, or you may feel that you are cycling, or you may feel that you are walking in water, right? So in that manner, you will see it's something which is continuously rolling on, and you can't specifically now identify what is being lifted, what is being placed, what is being moved, what is being lowered down. All that will go. You will see a complete entire process. You may start seeing each and every minute action, functions involved in the walking process. But you don't poke your fingers, you let it roll on. You just get back and let it happen, and you keep observing. So what I want to say here is, you start with a very gross, simple perception of how the leg is placed, but observing the same thing, getting more and more close to the same thing, what you saw earlier has become a mirage. And it has become now completely a salad of perceptions. So when you take this salad of perception, which section of this perception can be called walking is a question in mind. So which means now we are sort of getting close to confirm what the Buddha is saying. We think walking is, there is one set complete action that nobody can change. But when you get close to it and see, it is not concrete like that. It's so many things are happening, and it's just a name distinction that we have given that it is walking, but inside that millions and millions of actions are happening. So I just taken only the process, and if you see the sensations of it, sensation when you place the walking, you may feel roughness, and when you keep on observing that, after some time, this roughness sensation of roughness may change to sensation of massaging, and that massaging you may feel in the entire foot, or you may feel it even in your calf muscle, and you may feel it in your thigh muscles, and you may feel it in both the legs, and sometimes some of you may feel it in the entire body, because the attention is in the body. So when these things happen, the complete perception of the working change, the walking change. So when that happens, some people may completely forget the fact that I'm walking. They will be walking like toddlers. Toddlers can't walk properly. They keep one leg in one place and the other leg in another place. So like that, they may forget completely walking. They may become a child while walking, or they may become a drunk person while walking. When the drunk people can't, they have no control over their body, because they have lost their perception. And the same thing happens without taking liquor, without taking alcohol. We have the capacity to go those fleeting perceptions that we have. So in the same way, when you take mindful sitting, it is even fascinating when you observe your, say for example, breath, wherever you are observing, maybe tummy or chest or entrance of the nostril, wherever you are observing it, you will initially be able to see, yes, there is in breath, there is out breath, and you can see the air flowing in, air flowing out, and you may feel coldness, roughness, and all that. Or the tummy is rising, tummy is falling, all that you may be able to see. But when you keep on observing, you yourself see that grossness will naturally, gradually fade away. And you may feel that gross, long, hard breath is becoming subtle, short, and shallow breath. And that is because you are getting close to it, and when you get close to it, the mirage goes further away. The same thing when it was gross, subtle, when it is gross, long, and hard, you got close to it. When you get close to it, there is no grossness, there is no hardness, there is no length, it's not long, it becomes short, it becomes subtle, and still that's fine. And only thing you are doing is you are investigating it, you are inspecting it, you are pondering it, and you let it happen, and be very vigilant to whatever is going on. And then you see that becomes even subtler, even shorter, and it may come to a point you are entirely with the breath, and you may be able to observe that entire body is affected by that breath that you are taking in, because the breath is transporting blood to the entire body. So you may start feeling the whole body. So it may come to a perception that you don't feel the breath as such anymore, but you may feel the entire body, the function it does. And when you feel it, you may feel that each and every cell is giving some tingling sensation, or you may feel it like what do you call boiling water type of sensation. Or for some people, when they feel the entire body, they may feel the entire body very stiff as well. For some people, they may feel the entire body very hot, very warm as well. For some people, they may feel the entire body very cold. So I remember when I was doing Goenkaji once, and it was in the middle of the winter. Everyone was throwing their blankets because they give blankets during winter. Everyone was throwing their blankets because body was so warmed up. So the heat is coming out. So depending on many reasons, when your attention goes to the body, you may start feeling the body in different manner. Now we started with air, the perception has completely changed. When the attention goes to the body, and either with walking or with sitting, what we simply do is this mind that is wandering all over the universe is brought back to its original place, its ancestral home. So when it comes to ancestral home, which is your own body, and you may start seeing more and more details, which means more and more perceptions. And these perceptions are, as I mentioned earlier, you start with one, and it keeps changing, continuously changing. Closer you go there, and different it becomes, right? So this, you may, what I want to simply say is, you may start seeing these characteristics of elements. So this is how, in the physical process, we go from the gross to what we know our head, neck, trunk, legs, hands. That is what we know as our body. But when we get close, we see we don't see hands, or we don't see head and things like that. We start feeling the elements, basic elements, the heaviness and lightness, or the what do you call cohesiveness, or the flowing nature, or the moving nature. So our attention goes to elements. So when the attention goes to elements, still you don't feel the body. You say you are feeling body in this manner, and the person who is closely inspecting and carefully inspecting, keeping the mindfulness to the fore, will not look for whether my hand is there, whether my leg is there. They don't open their eyes. Usually some people, when they feel that they don't feel their body parts, they open and see. You don't feel your body parts because you are going beyond the perception of the body. You are going basically to the element layers, maybe, or maybe even beyond that. So I'm not going to talk beyond that. Your attention goes to the elements. When the attention goes to the elements, you will be identifying heat elements and water element, air element, and what's the other? Earth element. So when you keep on observing these things, again, these intrinsic characteristics of the elements will also change. When you continuously keep on observing these things, the heat element that was there, or the earth element that was there, or the air element that was there, or the water element that was there, may gradually fade away, because that also becomes a mirage. It gradually fades away, and you don't feel any heat or cold now. You don't feel any tightness or lightness now. You don't feel any cohesiveness or flowing nature now. You don't feel any moving nature or the bearing nature now. Instead, you may feel there is something that is a mix of all these things. There is something that keeps appearing and disappearing. There is something happening in the body. You will see that. So again, what happens is when you see the elements, continuously observe it, as Buddha suggests, and perception of the matter, perception of the physical process changes into something else. So this is the mirage that Buddha is suggesting. There is no substance in it if you get close and see. And when that is why for the form, the Blessed One said, form is like a flag. It's simply because it's just a perception. And we have a perception that we have a concrete body, but when you get close to it, it is not like that. It is something which is having a common characteristic of appearing and disappearing. And it happens so fast when you get more and more close. That is because we are getting into the nature. When we are getting into the nature, we know all our materiality, this mass is created by energy. So when you go through the matter, and when you get closer and closer to it, what we do is the RPM of observing it increases. When it increases, you start seeing the minute details of the matter, and that is just the matter. And you see the mirage of the matter in that manner. So when we have this mirage, we not only have the matter, we also have the energy that drives the matter. That energy is the mind or the mental process, and that mental process is having 5 sections, or rather 4 sections, which is feelings, perceptions, mental volitions, and consciousness. So when you go through the matter, then this mental process starts playing up, and you start feeling, you start having change feelings. When you have the elements, when you have the common characteristic of this appearance and disappearing, some people get frightened, and that is because they hate it, they don't like it. It becomes an unpleasant feeling. And when you see this, if you can develop your practice to see the common characteristics of the matter and lot of energy that you have had in your system to make yourself to understand that it is not atomic particles, but it is a concrete solid body. Such impurities, such negative energies are no longer necessary. I will repeat it for you to understand. When you get more and more close to your body, what it simply does is it challenges the negative energies that were there to force yourself to understand that it is a solid body. Now you see, it was earlier, before the practice, you thought it is a solid body. But when you get close to it, you see it is not a solid body. When you see it is not a solid body, those negative energies are getting challenged. Negative energies are no longer required. So when those negative energies are no longer required, the negative energies are within our physical process, and they start moving. And when they start moving, you start feelings. When you have the feelings, there will have all sorts of feelings. It is not only the heat or the coldness or the roughness, and they are the basic ones. And once it becomes jumbled up, once it is become mixed up, once it is caught up in the RPM of continuous observation or you may call it full awareness. The common term used is the clear comprehension. When it is caught up in the clear comprehension, these negative energies won't stand a chance in staying in your body. So therefore, they may make havoc in your system, and you will have a lot of unpleasant feelings for some people. To some people, it's a very enjoyable thing, and they will be simply observing that. So when this happens, so the perception of the common characteristics of the physical process now change to another perception of the mental process, which is the identification of this pleasantness and unpleasantness, or neither pleasant nor unpleasant. So we identify this pleasantness and unpleasantness because we have distinct characteristics, distinct features that we identify. They are not physical. Now it's a mental thing that comes into the picture. So what I want to say is how this perception is changing from the physical process to the mental process. So when we go through the feelings in this manner, earlier we were talking about the negative energies that had created the physical process. Now we are going through the mental process, and we are attacking the negative energies in the mental process. What is the negative energy in the mental process? To say that this is unpleasant, to say that this is pleasant, to say that this is neither pleasant nor unpleasant. So these are the basic feelings that we have discussed. And irrespective of what category it falls into, irrespective of what perception we have about it, what the Blessed One says is simply observe, simply be mindful, simply let it be there, simply be patient. When you simply become patient, and I'm sure all of you have experienced, when you keep on observing feelings, something that you felt unpleasant, you are able to go through that. And it was unpleasant for 5 minutes on the first day. The second day, it was unpleasant for not 5 minutes. It was unpleasant for 4.5 minutes. And then it was unpleasant for 4 minutes. And then it was unpleasant for 3.5 minutes. And then when it continues, you don't feel any feeling. Similarly, the pleasant feeling. It was pleasant initially. It was so fantastic. It was so encouraging. It was so soothing. But after a while, its perception changes. So when the perception of neither pleasant nor unpleasant, and when you have neither pleasant, when you don't have pleasant or unpleasant feeling, you will get into the scenario of neither pleasant nor unpleasant. When you feel bored, when you feel lethargic, when you feel sleepy, that is neither pleasant nor unpleasant. So even if that happens, you simply keep sitting, or you simply keep walking, or you simply keep observing. So what happens is our attitude changes towards those things. Changing attitude means you don't take the perception that the mind is trying to give you. You don't take the perception that it is unpleasant. You don't take the perception that it is pleasant. You don't take the perception that it is neither pleasant nor unpleasant. You simply maintain a neutral mentality. When you try to maintain the neutral mentality, every thought moment that you maintain it, you challenge the negative energies that is asking you to consider it unpleasant. And then you are challenging, you are attacking more and more negativities that you have, impurities that you have in your system, defilements that you have in the system. So isn't it a mirage? Earlier it was saying, okay, so horrible, I can't just bear it up. But now that person himself is saying that it's not a big deal now. It is there, not that it is completely gone, but it appears, if you closely monitor it, and it appears and passes away. And that is all what is there. So the continuation of the practice in this manner, you are starting to realize, once you have attacked these feelings, it will come to a stage that the mind is creating its own images. And some people start seeing beautiful places, some people start seeing beautiful animals, some people start seeing horrible people, some people start seeing horrible places, some people start seeing, ancient things, ancient places, and you are also there. Everybody that are there, but still you exactly can't identify very familiar things. Or the mind, you may feel that you are so big, you are much bigger than the room or the building you are in. You are more than Gulliver, you may feel. And sometimes you may feel that you are so little, so small, you are even smaller than an ant. So the mind is trying to, since you have gone through the feelings, since you have attacked the perception of feeling, now it is trying to create perceptions from the stock. It is bringing out the storage. It may be things that have happened in the past, or things that you are expecting to do, or it may be things out of the box, out of the blue. You never thought, you never wanted, but some damn thing is happening. So, whatever happens, the Blessed One's initial advice is keep the mindfulness to the fore. Let it come. Just be aware and say, yes, I know. Yes, I'm aware. Yes, I'm aware. That's all you will have to say. You can't sleep with those things. You can't say, damn thing is happening. Where is my breath? Where is my feeling? What's happening to thoughts and all that? No. You simply keep observing. And even this perception, sometimes it will appear as thoughts. You may maybe images, a lot of images, lot of stories may be going on. So even that is creation of perception. And no matter what happens, you provide your report, you get some comment for it, you continue the practice. So when you continue the practice, you are telling Buddha, yes, I'm agreeing with you. When I get closer to it, it is void, it is hollow, it is insubstantial. I thought my body was something substantial, something that is not void, but it's not so. Feelings, I thought, no, it is not so. Now, even the perception, when I keep on observing the perception, when I get close to it, it disappears. So all these perceptions that appear after feelings, when you accept it, they don't stand a chance. As soon as you accept, they immediately vanish. So it's sometimes faster than a miracle. We can't say faster than a miracle, because the Blessed One is also always giving the best example. He is the teacher or the leader of taming men, so we should not go beyond him. So it's definitely a mirage. When you get close to it, there is no water there. We were thinking there is water, but before Buddha, since they were not keeping the mindfulness to the fore, what happened was, just read the Brahmajala Sutta. They have given so many interpretations of it, and they have mentioned this is how the world is created, this is how the God is created, and this is what is happening in the past, this is what is happening in the future, based on form, based on feelings, based on perceptions. They have created 62 wrong views. 62 wrong views. And because they identified themselves with it. So Buddha did not ask you to identify yourself with it. He didn't say that. What he said was, get close and inspect it. When you get close and inspect it, you see that there is nothing to identify yourself with it, because it is changing. So the continuation of practice, when you see these things, when you see that things are arising and passing away, your perception changes. Continuation of the practice, your perception changes. the perception, what you simply accept indirectly, you don't know yet. But what you indirectly accept is the fact that things are impermanent. You have seen your breath become impermanent. You have seen your feelings become impermanent. You are seeing your perceptions are becoming impermanent, no matter whether it's a perception of the form, no matter it's a perception of feelings, no matter it's perception itself. You see, these are changing. Although these are changing, you continue your practice. Why you continue your practice is because you accept this changing phenomenon. When you accept this changing phenomena, your mentality changes. You start accepting anything as it is. When you start accepting things as it is, you are not fighting with it. You are not identifying yourself with it. When you don't fight with it, there is no friction. When there is no friction, there is no suffering. If it is permanent, then only you create suffering for yourself. So when you realize this impermanence in the practice, it naturally flows onto your day-to-day living. And yes, damn things are happening around me. Everything will pass away. It has arisen now. It will also pass away. That mentality is there. Nobody is coming and telling you. But your mind is now used to it. Because you have seen your object that you're observing has changed. Although it changed, you never looked for the original object. You just kept continuing your practice. So you have trained your mind to see the impermanence. So therefore, when horrible thing happens around you, yes, it may give some friction initially, but let it be so. You simply accept, and with that acceptance, over time, because you accept the fact that it will change and be permanent, your suffering goes away. And when your suffering goes away, you realize suffering goes away because you have not identified with yourself. So in that manner, you gradually get used to impermanence. You gradually get used to non-self. You gradually get used to come out of suffering. So this is how our perception changes, because the strongest perception that we have are things are permanent. Strongest perception that we have are things are self. Strongest perception that we have are things are pleasurable. Now you see, it is not pleasurable because it is not because it is not permanent. In impermanence, you can't see pleasure. It changes. It doesn't stay. And something which is not pleasurable, I'm not a fool to say that it is me. So that way, your mind changes. So when the mind changes and when you see this arising and passing away, when you allow it to happen on its own accord, you may be able to experience these negative energies are completely going out of your system. And it is an experience. And it is an experience when you are 100% able to observe the process. There is something horrible happening within me. Let have your attention to the body and let anything happen in your body happen. And you simply with a smile keep observing. And when you keep observing it, you get more and more close to the impermanence, non-self, and suffering, and the negative energies are coming out. When the negative energies are coming out, it's completely a different ballgame. Our strongest perceptions in the continuing existence have been dramatically challenged. So now you are sort of a divine, not a divine being, sort of a noble being. You no longer consider things as permanent, self, and pleasurable. So now from this, what you see is practice is proving that it is not permanent, it is not self, it is not pleasurable, and therefore Buddha is right. I have carefully inquired it, inspected it, pondered it, and investigated it, and I realized it kept changing. It kept changing, and if I want to make this changing thing permanent, or if I try to hold on to it, then I'm creating negativity. I'm not holding it. I just let it go, and in that manner, if you just let it go, that is the real letting go. Not just coming and sitting is also letting go. Thereafter, a lot of other letting go happens. When that letting go happens, then you let go of the negative energies, and that will make you a noble disciple who has gone a long way in the practice. So this is why, to find something like this is why Buddha is a genius. This is why he says the key to do all this is choiceless awareness. And that choiceless awareness in this sutta, Blessed One is saying, inspect it carefully, investigate it carefully, and ponder it carefully. Don't just do it superficially. Get as close as possible. He says, one with a good eyesight gets close and see. In the same way, we will have to do it. And to see that only we have met in Dhamma, and there is a reason for our meeting. The reason for our meeting is to get this choiceless awareness and see the capacity of human beings. Each and every human being is having this capacity, but you guys are not just having it. You guys are just putting it to practice. You guys are just making it actual, making it real. So therefore, this is a very important treasure that you have. Others waste that treasure, extremely valuable treasure in the humanity. 99.9% of the people are wasting. But you guys have got to be humbly happy that you are taking that ability of choiceless awareness, and may you be able to unearth that invaluable treasure and be happy forever and be mindful. Blessings of the Noble Triple Gem. That's the end of my talk.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu,
Everyone, Sarah. Okay. Now we can take some time for discussion. I'm sorry I have taken a bit long for the talk. Any discussion points?
Yes, I have a report to provide.
Yes.
Everyone, I have few questions.
Yes.
So for walking meditation, primary object was feet. I had 10 cycles of thoughts between walking. I could feel my weight goes to one foot each time I lift leg. Several times, body sensations appeared, increased and fade away, and appeared again with extreme degree and went away. Boredom appeared and vanished. And for sitting meditation, primary object was breath. It started with slow and long inhalation and exhalation, changed to shorter shorter and lighter in breath and out breath, and then more subtle in breath and out breath, and finally shallow in and exhalation. I felt my left foot got heavy, different body sensations appeared, and a rise in body temperature. Yeah, that's it for my reports.
Yeah, all right. Now in walking, you are mentioning that many things that you mentioned. The theme is appearing and went away and appearing and vanish.
Yes.
That's a reality. When you keep on observing, when you get close to things, you see things are appearing and going away only. You let simply observe that. There is nothing that you can hold on. Initially, when we say, okay, you let us see the in-breath and you let us see the out-breath, and then you think, oh, there are so many things that you will have to see and I can take it home. No, When you get close to it, you see there is nothing to take home. Everything keeps changing, and it is just appearing and vanishing and appearing and going away only. So when that happens, some people get vomitish, some people get frightened, some people start sweating. So if that doesn't happen, then you are gradually gaining knowledge, gradually gaining wisdom. You are not liberated, but this is something that you are getting close to. So let it happen, be happy, and be as observant as possible of that process. And it's the same thing in breathing as well. You have explained the process of in-breath and out-breath. And then what it simply says is, you are observing this changing phenomena. Get close to it and keep observing. And can you repeat the last two sentences of that report?
I felt my left foot got heavy, different body sensations started, and a rise in body temperature.
Yeah, so those sensations and rise in body temperature. When you keep observing, if you have not written, but do you have that body temperature now? No, it has gone away. It has gone away. So see how long it is there and see what happens to it. So that good that you have observed that body temperature is rising. And if you keep on observing that, now don't look for the breath, don't look for any sensation. When it is there, body temperature is there, keep observing that. And then you can see what happens to that as well. Right? So it is all this is changing phenomena. You don't feel the breath now. Your attention is in the body. Since the attention is in the body, you see the elements, each element of the body. You feel the sensation because your attention is in the body, and there are certain things that you like and certain things that you don't like. That is the feeling, right? So you are going into the mental process now. Be neutral and be observant and provide. So it's going in the right direction. Keep it up.
Thank you. So I have a few questions. So sometimes, like during my walking meditation, the question arises that like each time I do walking, I have like same kind of sensation. For example, the coldness of the floor and the lifting of the heel, then arch, then two, and then the force that came out of two, and then lifting, and like same thing. So like I'm asking, so what? Should I keep writing that again and again and again and again? It's the same thing over and over and over again.
That's
And
the
although,
challenge, my friend.
yeah, although like I do it and I go to this like feel different feelings, different mental states, but for focusing on the food, like these questions like rise that like it's the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
And
So
for yeah,
so
and
we
for
will
sitting,
answer this. We will answer this question. Do you have another question?
Yeah, I have two more questions.
Yeah, so we will answer this one first.
Okay.
So this is where Buddha is taking us. Buddha is taking us to the fact that it is the same thing. And are you strong enough mentally to observe the same thing? In living, we can't observe the same thing. We try to keep changing every time. So when we have, if you open your wardrobe, see the types of t-shirts you have, see the type of shirts you have, see the types of pants you have, and open the garage and see what type of cars you have. See your living room, what sort of things are there, and see how long you change those things, because we are not used to having the same thing all the time. We need a variety of entertainment all the time. So this is why we have 6 senses. Sometimes if you want to satisfy the eye, then the ear is shouting, give me something as well. And nose is shouting, give me something as well. So therefore, when you go for a concert, you have all these things. So you get really, really upset. Now, which faculty should I what do you call it, satisfy? Blessed One takes us from all that away, that is our nature, take away and ask us to observe one thing. And when we observe that thing, we see it's the same damn thing happening. And if you see that, and if you can be happy observing it continuously, then you are changing that general way of living. We are changing, we are very radically challenging the usual obsession of our mind of the varietal entertainment. So you are spot on that it is the same thing. So when the same thing is happening, you feel so bored, so annoyed, so agitated. So that mind is now active, and it is asking you to go and change it. That is how you see the mind. Now you are seeing your mind. So be happy seeing that nature of the mind and continue the practice.
Yeah, makes sense. Make total sense. And during my sitting meditation, like for kind of recently now, sometimes I how to put it, it's the best way I can. I lose interest to focus on breath, and I just want to watch and observe whatever is happening. Like now, I don't want to be in control and like analyzing or focusing or watching my breath. I just want to like be with everything that is coming, and I ask this, am I doing this right, or I should get back to breath, or just it's better for me to let it all go and let anything and everything happen? Because then at the end, if I let everything happen, I will say I have nothing to write for report, or like, what should I write now? It was just like happening and happening and changing, and I was watching, and what should I write really? And this is also another thing for me.
Yeah, no, when the practice is developing, when the mind is developing, mind is trying to create questions, suspicions about the practice. So in both these questions, that is the underlying tendency, because you are seeing the right thing. You started with saying you are losing the interest in observing the breath. That is exactly what you said in walking as well. You are losing the interest. Why? Because so many things are happening. Why you see so many things are happening? Because you are coming as close as possible to the present moment. In the present moment, so many things are happening. We never saw them. Now, since we are not doing anything and simply observing and simply living in the present moment, you start seeing all damn thing, everything is happening. So the mind has no place to establish itself. So the mind is trying to suggest, go and observe the breath so that it can establish itself on the breath. But Buddha is much more smarter, and you are doing it perfectly right. You let things happen and observe. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So you said, I don't want to control. Don't control. Let everything happen and anything happen. You simply keep observing. Simply keep observing. It doesn't matter, you don't have anything to write. But after doing some time, if you feel that there is something to write, you write. It is not necessary to give a report each and every time. But so long as you practice. But if you have any suspicion, if you have any doubt, And if there is any experience that you want to get clarified, then you write. And when this loss of interest and lethargy happen, don't stop. Get as close as possible to the body and keep observing. Not breath, but when you feel lose the interest, the body muscles you may start seeing in a very different manner. They will be like hungry wolves. Hungry wolves not having anything to eat. They will be barking and howling so badly, looking for food. Now, since you are simply observing, the entire physical and mental process has lost food. So you may feel in your body, right? So it's going in the right direction. Simple advice, keep it up.
Okay, and one last question. Like during this meditation, I may observe something, but then forget that to write. Is it like okay?
Yeah, forgetting is good. Forgetting is good because you are not identifying yourself with anything now. You are not picking up perceptions. If you pick up perceptions and if you say that perception is me, then you have a lot to write. So when you observe the perception and just let it go, there has not been a perception.
All right.
So there's nothing wrong. So you are very close to Buddha.
Thank you.
Keep doing it. Peruvan Saranai.
Peruvan Saranai.
Right. Anybody else?
Simon, I just want to provide a quick report. Peruvan Saranai.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned a movie that I watched and like the cravings went up, and ever since I just I wouldn't say it's like a craving anymore. It's like a state of being. So ever since this movie came out, like I feel like I've just been like downloading information. So it's just being like creating a self like relative to everyone else. So it's like yeah, that's like the only way I can put it. So it's like people knowing there is someone, but they don't know who it is, kind of thing. That's like the kind of the sense of self I've been experiencing. But like someone else said, I've just been like getting close to it and observing it. And yeah, it just comes and goes, comes and goes. Yeah, like I just wanted to mention that. That's pretty much what I can provide. Yeah.
Are you trying to say that there is a movie and you are identifying yourself with it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you mean, are you identifying yourself as the characters, or are you identifying yourself?
Pretty much as like the main character.
Watching
Yeah.
it.
Sorry?
Are you identifying yourself to watch it, or as the characters in it?
As the pretty much as like the main character in it, yeah. But like it just happens like when I watch the movie, yeah.
Yeah. So that's a usual thing that happens to a lot of people. And
yeah.
when there is a fight, you become also part of the fight.
Yeah.
Right. So you identify and you don't know.
Yeah.
But in your case, and in the case of those who practice, you can see that you are getting involved.
Yeah.
Seeing that itself, seeing that I am part of it, is something to be happy, because other people, they don't know it.
Yeah.
So if you feel that you're identifying yourself with it, just be aware of it and just be happy about it. And that itself will take away your involvement, take away your enjoyment of that movie, of that.
Yeah. 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 And apart from that, like in terms of like the cravings, I have been like experiencing like like pretty much some kind of like I think I've mentioned it before, like related to everyone else. Like everyone else thinks that I'm like this kind of like a special being or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just comes and goes. And like I used to think, oh, is this really happening? But now it's like it's starting to become more and more accurate.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to provide that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, so I just
That's,
I literally just stay with it now, yeah.
yeah. So that is your mind suggestion of the mind.
Yeah.
It's a suggestion of the mind. So you will have to simply say, yes, I am aware.
Yeah,
Mind,
okay.
mind will try to come and overestimate you, overvalue you, and flatter you as much as possible.
Yeah.
So that mind is able to make you suffer, right? So when it does that, you'll have to simply say, yes, I'm aware. I am aware.
Yeah.
I am aware. So that mind is trying its level best, but you are not taking it on board, and you are not throwing it either.
Yeah.
If you take it on board, you become a victim, and if you fight with it, you will create hatred. So you don't either of that. I am aware. You produce anything, but I don't pack a cancer.
Yeah.
So knowing this, being aware of it is the best thing, and be happy about of being aware.
Yeah, that'll be awesome, answer.
Teruvan Saranam. Anything from Brisbane?
Hello? Yes.
Yes. Hi.
Yeah. Yeah, from the past 2 weeks of my meditation, yeah, I like you said before, to increase 5 minutes, 5 minutes gradually.
Yeah.
So far, now I'm doing 35 minutes,
Good.
with no issue.
Great.
Yes, and I'm at the stage of trying to what's the word, polish my sitting meditations, such as in like moving myself. I had a chat with Steve before, and Steve mentioned that you should have a zero movement when I'm doing sitting meditation, including like fixing my posture, as well as like no coughing and no clearing throats, etc., etc. What? You did? You did? Yeah, well, anyway,
You're caught, Steve. Right. Okay. Keep
yeah,
giving the report.
yes, I'm aware, but I still struggle with those.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
and
Okay. What about walking?
walking, I have no problem, but
Right.
sometimes I fall, right? Like I think I mentioned this before, that that I sometimes fall down slightly, but somehow I managed to keep walking.
You fall down while walking.
Yes, I fall down slightly like this.
Yeah. Just yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Which is manageable.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. And what about breath? Now you are talking about in your sitting. You are talking about movement and coughing and clearing throat and things like that. What happens to your breath? That is most important.
So sometimes when my shoulders are when I feel uncomfortable with shoulders or necks, I tend to move my muscle.
Yeah.
I know
Still
that I should
still you are
start.
still you are not talking about the breath.
Breath, like coughing and clearing throats, like like that.
No. What I'm saying is when you do your sitting practice, are you observing your breath?
I think some extent I do.
Yeah. So if you don't observe the breath, you will have to say you don't observe the breath. And if you observe sometimes, then you'll have to say you're observing sometimes.
Yeah,
when
I'm
you
observing.
when you sit, and you will have to start with saying what you're observing. That is very important. Instead of saying, I'm trying not to have any movements, no coughing, no clearing thoughts and things like that, we will come to that later. When you give the report, you will have to say, I'm doing my sitting practice. What am I observing? That is important, right? So it may be breath or it may be anything else, doesn't matter.
Yep.
Right? And then you will have to say, for example, you're observing breath, you will have to say whether you are able to observe it. Then if you are able to observe it, what are your observations? If you are not able to observe it, then what you observe? Those information should be given first. And when those things are happening, only this question of movements, clearing throat and no coughing is coming. And the shoulder muscles, tension of shoulder muscles and all that coming. After you sit, after you try to observe something. Okay, so therefore the report format has got to be now a bit more formalized, because you are now a person practicing for some time, and from what you say, you are improving. So I'm trying to improve your reporting, way of reporting. Okay, so coming
Yes.
back to the things that you have mentioned about movements and shoulder tensions. No movements, it is good. If you can do it, no movements, it is good. No bodily movement, right? But try your level best to do that. And coughing is a natural thing. And if it naturally comes, you observe it and let it come out. You keep observing it. And it comes from down, from the bottom, from your tummy. So you start observing the entire process. And when it comes out, you observe that as well, right? And this
Yep.
coughing is coming because your attention is inside the body.
Yes.
When the attention is inside the body, it is going to each and every tiny, minute cell, and any unwanted phlegms and things like that, it will heat and bring out, right? So that is why, if you are not sick, that is why cough is happening. And even clearing thought is a similar thing. It's a natural thing. If you have got to clear thought, clear the throat, you do it mindfully. There is nothing wrong in it. I'm sure Steve may not have told that, but you may have misunderstood it, right?
Okay.
And
Yep.
shoulder pain. When the shoulder pain is there, try to observe it rather than moving the shoulders like this, right? If you try to observe it, let the tension be there and take your attention to the tension and try to keep observing it as much as possible. So it looks like your practice is picking up well. So at the same rate, your reporting also should pick up now.
Yep.
Right? And so walking, you mentioned that you fall down. So before falling down, yeah, falling down is fine. It's a natural thing that happens after some time. So you'll have to tell me what you observe before that and what happens to your walking process. Then I will get a better idea of what is happening. Overall, it has picked up very well.
Thanks.
Peruan Saranai. Mr. Stephen, what's the other part? So we have a stranger today.
Hello, Bante.
Peruan Saranai.
Peruan Saranai. So just a couple of things. It doesn't really actually involve meditation as much. It's just my everyday life. So basically, I've been getting rid of a lot of my personal belongings, or was personal belongings. Just selling things, giving things away. I've pretty much given away and sold everything, which, believe it or not, is actually a huge relief. And an observation I've noticed is, like, my room's empty now it's relatively empty now. But it's actually a very good thing in the sense where there's no clutter. But what I've noticed now is I've started like cleaning things. Like, it's hard to explain. Like, obviously, you know, my living situation is already very clean as it is. But just in regards to my bedroom, now I'm starting to like use my time in cleaning and cleaning things which are already clean. It's like a bit of an OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, it feels like, even though it's not. But what I have noticed as a positive thing is, like, when I'm in my room with, you know, if I'm watching Dharma or doing something on my laptop, things around me aren't there to create a mess. And I'm finding that a very good thing. So that's one thing I'd like to mention. Doesn't really need an answer or anything, but if you do have some input, that would be good. Number two, I've been delving into the Tripitaka and looking at the suttas, you know, in the Tripitaka. Even there's an awful lot of them, but I've just been looking at the ones which are leaning into more monkhood, like the food, the Samanera, the 75 precepts for a novice monk, things like that. But what I've also noticed, I've become very insociable. It's almost like I have no patience for the world, for humans, and like it's been like this the past 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm not sure if it's correlated to me getting rid of things. It feels like it's not, but just when I go to work, I had to do 6 days last week. I think it was last week. I had to work on a Monday, which I normally have off. So that sort of altered my routine a bit, and I was a little bit moody. And I've become really insociable, and I just want to be alone. Have you got anything, like any wisdom you can impart, like before you became a monk and then when you became a monk? Like, did any of this happen with you? Because I just don't really have the patience around people anymore, and I can sort of see thoughts arising in other people, and it almost predict things that are going to happen before they're happening quite often now. And it's just, I just don't have time and patience for a lot of things, and I'm quite short nowadays, and I actually enjoy being alone. So yeah, that's all.
Yes. So, no, I mean, these are positive signs, definitely towards the spiritual side, but they should get refined, right? Getting rid of belongings and emptying the place and no clutter is simply reflecting the mind. When the mind is cluttered, mind is having craving, and you will have so many belongings. So when you want to renunciate, the first things that you renunciate are the physical things. So you are either getting rid of that, or selling them, or giving them free, is a good move, right? So that shows signs of preparing for a longer journey, right? And the this insociable thing, and the fact that you don't like human beings and being moody is also a result of the same thing. Once you have got rid of the things that create friction, within you, then there is the other side that you want to get rid of, which is the stupid beings with which you live, right?
No.
No, I mean, I'm not saying that you're physically doing it, but that is what the mind says is be alone.
Yeah.
Be alone means don't associate these people.
Yeah.
There is some hatred towards being in the society, and it is because you love the seclusion more.
Yeah.
So Buddha said, there is a seclusion that way as well. But in my teaching, you should be able to go to the society and live in a manner that you are not affected by the friction that they have, that they try to give you. So this is a testing point for you. So
Yeah.
we cannot take the renunciation as an escapism, right? So you will have to now you have let me put it this way. When the pilot is bringing the flight down, there's an angle in which it has to come down and then touch down. If the angle is slightly wrong, then you will either hit the nose or hit the tail, which will be catastrophic. Right? So it's exactly the same thing. And now it's happening in the taking off as well. There are things that has to happen. Right? So now you have come to the runway. So on the runway, you will have to be prepared now. Okay, I'm going to the society, and all these fellows are stupid. Am I affected by their stupidness? You will have to have that preparedness all the time. Otherwise, yes, your mind is getting clear, but that is trying to go to one extreme, and that will not create right view. That is clinging on to one side. So we should be able to live in the stupid, with the stupid people, with all stray dogs, stray cattle, stray chicken, headless chicken sometimes, but we are not affected. You just
to clarify, Bun.
I'm exaggerating it. You just on Friday night, you just keep walking on the streets of Fortitude Valley, but you are not affected by any stupid thing that you see. So seeing that you are insociable, knowing is a sign of heightened mindfulness. You are aware of your character, and that's a good identification. And explaining that is even more important. Otherwise, if you take your decision, you take your decision to the other side. No, I should go to the forest. I should be away from the society. That is what happened before Buddha. They went to Himalayas, not even the monkeys can come. And they still live. But there is a huge amount of hatred towards the society. The Blessed One says, no, you will have to mix with the society and you protect yourself. You have your firewall, you have your antivirus system within you, so that these donkeys will dance in the donkey manner. But I'm not affected.
Yeah.
Even if I'm affected, not as much as it has been in the past. So so it's a good observation, and it has got nothing to do with Tripitaka. It's exactly the way you are working, and since your mind is now more and more getting ready for December, these type of things are coming. So be aware that mind will try to create friction all the time. Have that in mind. Have that in mind. It will try to create some suffering, some friction, some tension. And as soon as it is created by the outsiders to you or within yourself, just have a laugh at it.
Yeah.
All that is mind game.
Yeah.
And when I come there, because I'm having some invitations to Australia in March to June, and then from June to few weeks, possibly Canada and US. So if you are free, you can follow me.
I might do that.
Yeah. Just keep it in your mind. We will
Yeah.
talk, discuss the details later.
Yeah, we'll chat. Third one,
Yeah.
Sarana. Thank you, Bante.
Everyone, Sarana.
You anything?
Everyone, Sarnai Bante.
Everyone,
After
Sarana.
a long time, and if I talk about my practice, I do daily practice 1 hour, and some days 30 minutes if we couldn't manage. Usually, my practice it evolves like it just being aware. I would say it's most of the time. I try to start with focusing breath if I'm doing sitting, and if I'm walking, the movement of feet, and quite quickly move from that to thought process, and then I have general idea of how brain works, trying to be a bit silent, but still I have weaknesses, and one thing is like boredom, and feel this boredom, therefore trying to go to parties, and as a habit I didn't drink for a long time, but started drinking a little bit, because it's just the one thing I thought maybe I'm a bit aware of what I'm doing and trying to get into it and see what's actually doing into me. But actually, it's ended up in a stupid situation 2 times, and now regretting it a little bit. And the one of the problem I have in like a perception wise, I believe some things about the world and how we live, and I take a one side, and even you said it's impermanent. I can't think like I have a empathy towards the entire world, and I feel like, for example, the systems like democracy or something like that, if it goes, people will suffer, like people like the rulers or far rights might shoot, like what happened in Bangladesh. Look, I take that in very strong hold and try to argue with people. I went to trouble, and it's happening even in Sri Lanka. These dialogues like politics and everything, and I still can't make my mind this is impermanent. Like it affects so many millions of people, and why we should not take a side. And this is the thing I couldn't explain myself to get away from that
I can
holding
explain.
point.
Yeah,
that might be very good help, because I'm stuck there. I think it's my brain goes there and you start arguing about it. It's called Vitaka Vichara, but it's just I can't get it out. Because I have fundamentally accept something is true and something is not. And
yeah. No, I mean it's so far as permanent and impermanent is concerned. In order to understand impermanence, we will have to look at ourselves. If we don't see that there is impermanence within us, then we never think that outside is impermanent. So that is why Buddha said, right here, right now, I am. Now, all what you are saying is far right movement and Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, the world, it's all external thing. Attention is outside. When attention is outside, it is not mindfulness. Going attention outside is fine. And you can become aware of the fact that my attention is outside. That is because of your character. But if you verbalize it, then you cross the street. It becomes transgressional. So when it is transgressional, then you have not been mindful. Because of our characters, those feelings, those temptations, those sentiments will come out. That is natural. So when they come out, if you are observing, then the mindfulness is serving. Otherwise, the normal, usual defilements that are there are making you a victim. So that is what has happened. So we can't intellectually accept we can intellectually accept impermanence, but that never works. I'm 100% sure that you understand that there is an impermanence, but that doesn't change you.
Yeah.
What will change you is if you see your own impermanence, then you start changing your attitude. If I am changing, if I am impermanent, what the heck about others your mind will naturally grasp. So it's the direction of attention that is important.
I have a question for this. To realize this impermanence within you, because of we have Vipassana and Samatha, like I find it myself like I more towards, because it's a labeling again, but my mind goes wandering around, and it's like a lot of times I have my meditation with the mind. Do I need to a little bit put more effort towards the Samatha to unearth this impermanent? Because I feel like I walk every day, but just I'm not getting there. It's like you might have seen that all the reports I did, because I'm not satisfied with what I'm.
So long as you are trying to get to impermanence, you will never get to impermanence. You can't get to impermanence. Impermanence is there already. It is law of nature. So we will have to be silent. We will have to avoid all physical, verbal, mental collisions and just become 100% observer. And that is why we are doing this technique. And you may have heard the report that Sahan gave. In that, he's not mentioning the word impermanent. But he's simply saying everything is vanishing, everything is appearing and vanishing, and everything is going away. That you start seeing impermanent. So it's not intellectualization. But if you observe, all what you have got to observe is impermanence. And you can't say, I observed impermanence. Then I know you have taken it from the book. You will have to tell your experience. When you tell your experience, then the noble friend knows this guy is challenging now really the attitude. This guy is really challenging. But it's just the beginning, like Bunnings. It's just the beginning. There is a long way. You will so you can't look for impermanence. You can't achieve impermanence. It will come to you when you stop.
Yeah.
If you are not stopping, that does not mean that you will have to give up everything and go to a forest. Being a householder, there is a way, there is a path, and that is what we are practicing. You very well are aware, and your practice is, whether you like it or not, is going in that direction. You have not really given a proper report because it is boredom and all that. That is where the impermanence is starting. When it is bored, the mind, you are using the word boredom because there is something which does not give you boredom. So your mind is inclining towards that.
Yeah.
Right. So when boredom is there, you simply sit and accept that boredom. Anything that you do to get rid of it, you are trying to challenge the impermanence.
That's what I'm trying to do right now.
Yeah.
I do everything. I put all the projects and I do. It's a cycle. Yeah, it's always. I don't know. Just I feel like I don't like impermanence. That's why I do this much of work.
So keep the practice on a daily basis, no matter what you do, and do everything else mindfully as well. Maybe your involvement in politics and all that, do them, but do it mindfully. And do it mindfully, you don't identify yourself with it. And if we should try and convince people that it's a wrong thing what is happening in the world. But as soon as you see that they are not understanding your viewpoint, if you are mindful, you should put it to the neutral gear and then put handbrake and foot brake, switch off completely.
Yeah, as long as you take a side, you're wrong. That's for sure.
That
Yeah, you
happens when
can't
you are
get-
mindful. If you are not mindful, then your taking side is fine, because there is definitely a right side,
Yeah,
right? So if you think that it is the right side, then you try to convince other people. But if they are not in a position to understand, don't try to force them,
yeah, that's maybe the
because
concept.
that
Yeah.
will hurt you. That will create self within you. That
Yeah.
will try to make things permanent in your mind. That's the
Yeah.
danger.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
Sure,
you
sir.
very much. And can I get Tanuka this time?
Yes, Swami.
We have generated a lot of positive energies from the talk and the discussion. If Tanuka can pass merits today, would be great.
Yeah, sure. Just quickly, Swami, I just need clarification for one more thing. Sorry, I just remembered.
Yeah.
When I was getting into it, like when I used to like read stuff of the internet and stuff, like people used to say, oh, when you reach the final like liberation stage, everything starts to become in sync. So like something you think can start appearing in your reality and all that. Like lately I've been experiencing things like that. So something I suddenly think of appears on the TV, or like like things become in like weird, like in a weird kind of sync. Yeah, I just want to ask Swami about that. It's because it's just something I've been experiencing here and there.
Yeah, no, I did not get your question well put up.
Yes. So I used to read something like it's like people discussing on the internet when they have this negative energy release, there's like they purge their karma and all that stuff. But when they reach the final stage,
What comes?
The karma and all that.
Yeah.
It's like purging of energies.
Yeah.
And when they finally reach like the end, like when they stop receiving all the universal signs and all that, when they reach the final stage, people said, oh, things become in sync as in like something you're thinking of might suddenly appear or something like or like it's hard to explain, but like like weird coincidences. So it's like that's like the best way I can put it. So sometimes I'll be thinking of like a sandwich or something, and suddenly that appears, like, and I see it. And I just want to clarify that. Is there some such thing as being in sync with the universe or something like?
No, it's there are different interpretations. Now, the main thing that I see is you have some experience, and you are still not 100% accepting the explanations that is received regarding your experience. That is why you are looking in the internet.
I don't look at the internet anymore.
Let me finish now. So there is a Buddha has said, when we have that sort of a suspicion, what we suspect is the path, Buddha's path. And what we suspect is our own practice. And so long as we have that suspicion, although we have experience, we have not accepted the experience. You are given a gift, but you have not accepted the gift. You are still pondering whether it's the real brand, whether it is a fake one, whether someone has really given me, or is someone trying to cheat me. So that happens. So that is, I'm not answering your question. I'm answering the mindset why you raised this question.
Yeah.
And that because of that, you will at 100% accept yourself that you have had this experience, you are having this experience. That is simply because of the Buddha. That is simply
Mm.
because even today we can achieve what Buddha said. So if you have that conviction, if you have that, hey, that takes you a long way in the path of the Dhamma.
Yeah.
Right. So the explanation, that's the side that I want to tell you to help you how you look at things. Then it will create the right view. So this is why the Buddha said in the Eightfold Noble Path, right view is important. So all these things are contributing to right view. Right. So
Yep.
now you have this view and just accept it. Yes, this is wrong. And by accepting that, by being mindful of it, then that itself is the right view. There is nothing big you will have to do. Accepting that you have this view, that you are in a way questioning what Buddha has taught, what the experience I'm getting, and then that mere acceptance will put you in the right direction and in the right way. So that's the advice. And so far as what you have in the internet is concerned, in the internet there will have people with different types of backgrounds, and they will have many types of explanation. So we do not know what agenda these guys are having. It may be people who are really practicing mindfulness, or it may be the same thing have been spoken by all other denominations, but they have not gone to the practice, but they are intellectualizing things.
Yeah.
So if you go to intellectualizing things, then you will lose your way and you will not go anywhere. So when you really have an experience, and if you don't identify yourself with it, you don't make a video about it. You don't talk it in the mass media. You don't talk it in the social media. So you put that into social media just because you identify yourself. We of course also put our discussions into the social media, but it's not to identify ourselves. It is to help people. So recently we received a video that someone has completely liberated, and he's talking about the liberation because he can sit for 7 days continuous, and he's simply telling what is in the Tripitaka, and there is no absolute experiences from the practice. So I was telling my teacher, he's conditioning the deconditioning process. It is not, he is not falling into the deconditioning process and experiencing how the deconditioning happens. He conditions himself with the deconditioning process. So it's again another condition. So therefore, when it comes to those experiences, I would suggest have one teacher.
Yeah.
Otherwise, your mind will get muddled up. Yeah. Hope it makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Like, it's just something I used to read like literally years ago. Like, I haven't been reading anything since I got into the practice. Like, I've just been coming into the Tuesday programs.
Yeah.
But
Now
it's just been
since that has been there, mind is trying to take the advantage and see whether you can be still put into that mess. Yeah, so it is good that you brought it out, because we have all these defilements underneath. So the mind is trying some or other, way to hook you.
Yeah.
So when anything comes, yes, I am aware, is the answer.
Yeah.
Don't make it physical, don't make it verbal.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Yeah, so we will go to the transferring of merits. And can I kindly request Tanuka now? Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
May all devas share this merit, which we have thus accumulated, for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness and prosperity. May all other beings share this merit, which we have thus accumulated, for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness and prosperity. May all the beings share this merit which we have thus accumulated for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness and prosperity. May all beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, having shared this merit, long protect the dispensation. May all beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, having shared this merit, long protect the teaching. May all beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, having shared this merit, Lord protect me and others. If by deed, speech, or thought heedlessly have done any wrong, forgive, O Master, O Victor, greatly wise. If by deed, speech, or thought heedlessly have done any wrong, forgive, O Dhamma, to be seen here and now, timeless. If by deed, speech, or thought heedlessly have done any wrong, forgive, O Sangha, practice well, the incomparable. Let this merit accrue to our departed relatives, and may they be happy. Let this merit accrue to our departed relatives, and may they be happy. Let this merit accrue to our departed relatives, and may they be happy. By the grace, by the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never follow the foolish, but only the wise up to the time I attain Nibbana. By the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never follow the foolish, but only the wise up to the time I attain Nibbana. By the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never follow the foolish, but only the wise up to the time I attain Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu,
Thank
sadhu,
you,
sadhu.
Sarna, everybody for participating. So enjoy
That was
your,
nice one.
be mindful. Tervan Sarana.
Thank you.
Tervan Sarana. I'm disconnecting here.